Now, you've all seen the red bus around the city. Well, prepare to see it more. The city Sightseeing and Soweto will be adding new routes and bus stops to their catalogue. The company really gives customers an inside look into Johannesburg and, of course, Soweto. They'll be unpacking the next chapter of this exciting new journey from tomorrow. Let's unpack this further with Director Homotsopowe, who joins us in studio this evening. Thank you very much for your time. Tell us a little bit about the Red Bus Initiative and its expansion, what it is you're looking to achieve as the stakeholders involved here.
So first of all, we started this journey 10 years ago, in 23rd of January, and the Soweto part of the collaboration came in April of that same year. Now, the initial routes that we had pre-2019 were working quite well. But with the pandemic having struck, we need something to be able to draw the customers back, to have something as a pulling power. We can't be selling things that we had pre-pandemic in a new space. So then we went on to do research to say, what are the people looking for? What are the people wanting? And what we found out is that people wanted to see a lot more of the history and the relatable history of today. So between stops 2 and 4, which is we've added Melrose Arc, we've added on the Mandela Century, the Mandela Foundation, and also we drive past the house that he stayed with, Gracia Machel in Houghton. So that's the first part of the Houghton base between Melrose Arc and the Houghton before we get to Monroe Drive. So we've added all those, we've emphasized the Mandela route specific to that. So you basically pass the Mandela Foundation, the Mandela Century, and Gracia Mandela's house. And finally, once you're in Soweto, you also touch on the Mandela House within Soweto. So basically, our route is centered around at least a story people can actually find Mandela's journey from the Soweto one, connecting those dots together. So I think it was very important for us to add that element to the route. And within the Soweto part of the route, we decided to add 2 more stops within it. So our stop 1 in Soweto is existing of the Hall of Fame that used to be in Sun City. And now because the Hall of Fame has now moved to Soccer City, we're now able to take people through to the Hall of Fame and a bit of the stadium walk to be able to see that part of the stadium that when people weren't able to see before. So as a service provider, we would like to call ourselves, we take people to the stations, we take people to the museums, we take people to all the exciting excursions around the city. So the Hall of Fame, I think, is something that South Africans need to tap into and go into. And as much as Soccer City is the house of Kaizer Chiefs as well, so you see all these elements that people previously couldn't walk into the stadium and do a stadium tour. So now we've opened up that avenue for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, you brought up an important component, COVID-19, and the impact that would have had on the business. And of course, this is a stakeholder engagement that you're going to be having. How do you deal with creating or developing it to become a sustainable component of the tourism of Gauteng, because it's an integral part of the tourism economy, and also just maybe dealing with the impact that COVID-19 had?
Well, the pandemic really almost tanked our businesses. That's the truth. I mean, the tourism sector was the first to close and the last to open. Those 2 years literally had us sitting and wondering whether we'd actually be able to open up our doors again. And hence reason right now it's important for us to engage with our stakeholders, to engage with Gauteng Tourism, to engage with Joburg Tourism, to engage with all the relevant stakeholders and show them that even though the pandemic has come and gone, this is what we're doing to highlight and showcase the city of Johannesburg and this province of Gauteng. So it's up to us as the people that take the people to all these museums, everything else of the sort, to show our stakeholders that this is a little bit that we are doing. And that's what this event is going to be about on Tuesday. So we can showcase and share with them and also engage with them to say, how do we work better together going forward? Stakeholders, what issues are you having with basically marketing the city? How do we then get involved in part of that? Stakeholders, what issues are we having as service providers that are showcasing the city? I mean, as you've seen back in the days, last year there was a picture of a bus that was stuck with a tree in it.
Yes.
I mean, those are some of the things we have to have with our stakeholders to say, how do we make ourselves better available to you guys so you can hear our concerns with regards to chopping the trees off so that our customers aren't being hit by trees and small and things of that nature. So we're opening ourselves up to speak to our stakeholders. We're opening ourselves up to showcase our products to our stakeholders. As you can know, the Red Bus and the Soweto Hop on Hop Off bus are an activity on their own.
Yes. Yeah, so obviously your stakeholders are also going to need to hear about the increasing costs that service providers like yourself have to deal with. And I'm talking about fuel costs and just the general cost of doing business in the province at the moment. Are you going to be having conversations about investment opportunities?
Well, those conversations will be had post our engagement with them. Like we said, we just opened the door on Tuesday to say, hey, let's start this engagement. And phase 2 of that, us sitting down in the boardroom in their office and say, how do we now create and craft a strategy that formulates and works for the both of us.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time in studio this afternoon, or this evening rather. And I just want to get your sense. We've been talking about the Springboks for the entire day today, and I'm sure as a South African, a proud South African, you must have watched. Were you as anxious as the rest of us were? And your thoughts on what's going to happen next weekend?
So let me take it back to France. We sat there pound for pound.
Yes.
France scored, South Africa scored. France scored, South Africa scored. Kobe Chelsea blocked a conversion kick, maintained us at 12-12.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we won. Second time around with England, we were coming from the back the whole time. 70 minutes trailing.
Yeah.
And for the Springboks to have done that, Jesus, that was something else.
Yeah.
That was something else. I mean, even to the last minute, we're sitting on the edge of our seats, biting our nails, watching the clock go down, running into the red. And when the referee blew that whistle, we couldn't even eat. There was so much anxiety. We needed to settle down.
Yeah.
Didn't enjoy just a simple beer.
Yeah, no, interesting times indeed. And I suppose hopefully they won't put us through that kind of trauma again when we watch the finals next week. And thank you very much for your time in studio. That is Khomotso for joining us in studio, speaking about the red bus and the new routes that they're going to be offering, of course, telling the Nelson Mandela story, but also, as you heard there, the Hall of Fame happening at the stadium, where people who are interested in that particular piece of the city's history can now engage using the service. Now,